for this video. I had no idea what I'm going to film this week. So this is my favorite part. I love the speed on the bike. I love going fast. And when you progress in your training, you can go fast whenever you want. Well, I'll have to admit, I kind of found cycling to be a metaphor for life. So, like the downhills, they really give me that pure childish joy, the speed. But to get to the speed, you have to work. You have to go through the pain and suffering process of climbing. And if you're well prepared, you're gonna get the reward of the joy of descending. And it doesn't last long before you have to start suffering again, doing efforts. I'm getting into some deep mind philosophical subjects. But it hit me the first time on Birch Pass, and there was a guy. I saw him going downhill. He was walking next to his bike. I said, what happened? He said, the brakes are not working. So he rented the bike and the bike wasn't good. And because he was ill prepared for the ride, he missed out on the joy of descending. So it's not just about doing the effort, it's about planning, being prepared. Same as life. You have to plan, you have to have a plan, you have to be prepared, you have to stick to it, to be disciplined. You have to maintain your bike with discipline. That was just a strain of thought. Huh? Since then I kind of look at it that way. And the bigger the effort, the more you pass through the perceived effort, the pain, the more reward you get. And sometimes, yeah, you have the pain, but you also have the parts that were difficult that are now easy, and this gives you confidence. And without true self-confidence, you cannot go through life. I've seen so many people trying to go through life and handle life's challenges, but without confidence in themselves. It doesn't go. They get frustrated by things they cannot affect because they cannot do properly the things they can affect. So that's a little philosophical insight into the subject perceived effort for beginners, for amateurs. Today I want to talk about perceived effort, but we have a lot of videos on YouTube about perceived effort from the scientific standpoint. What I want to talk about is from the real life performance for people like us who get into sports 30s, 40s, and how we handle perceived effort. Because what I learned that I had a long plateau on my performance before I started understanding my perceived effort. So this is a video for regular people, for real people, not professionals. And I'm not gonna handle the scientific side much. I will put some links below with videos explaining the scientific side of perceived effort, but I'm talking about the, let's say, emotional side of perceived effort. So, as some of you know, I used to be really heavy. I used to be 130, now I'm 90, heading to 80 in spring. The thing is, when you're heavy and you have a lot of fat, the fat causes your blood pressure to be higher because it's pressing on you. So the thing is on your cardiovascular system. So what happens is that you cannot reach high beats per minute. It happened to me. I almost fainted at 160 beats per minute when I was heavy. I'll put a picture of that ride. that right when that almost happened. And you'll see it now in the video. The thing is, for me, zone 3 was 130 beats, 125 to 125, and then zone 4 was above that. So zone 2 would have been around 110. Now for me, 110 is not even a warm-up. I mean, it is, but it's just a warm-up. So, or a recovery ride. Now I'm 109, look, and I'm doing a recovery ride and talking to you. The thing is, when I lost weight, my heart rate started raising, and but the fear from high heart rate stayed. It's not a fear, it's how do you know, you don't know your body yet, and you don't know its limits, and you are 40, and what are you gonna do at 38, 37, doesn't matter. And what are you gonna do at 37? You're gonna explore your heart rate limits. It's difficult to come to terms with that. So I decided to do some research on my heart rate and my VO2 max. So my VO2 max and how to raise it. To raise your VO2 max, you have to do intervals and zone 4, where you get winded while you're doing the interval. These are short intervals, like 4 to 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. And the thing is, the last minute you have to be breathing like you cannot catch air. And to come to terms with that, you need to practice, and you need to explore your perceived effort and the limitations of it. So we all know that our body, the limits of our body and our performance are pretty high, and we never reach them, especially us amateurs. And what stops us from reaching them is the perceived effort. To reach our maximum, we have to explore that feeling. When you get into the windiness, when you think you're gonna faint, when you think your legs will fall off. In running, I used to have the feeling that I'm gonna trip because my legs were so weak when I was doing intervals, tempo intervals, also VO2 max intervals. I always had this feeling that I was gonna trip. You're not gonna trip, you just have to explore that feeling. And that's how you push your effort limits. So perceived effort is an enemy, in a way, to help your body defend from stress. What you need to do is slowly explore that thing. Slowly. The main thing is you have to go slowly. But when you set your sights on an interval session, for example, let's say you have tempo session for 3 times sweet spots, 3 times 10 minutes, for example. Those intervals are going to get heavy at some point, and your legs are going to start burning, and you're going to have a feeling that it doesn't go anymore. Your mind is going to demotivate you. It will take away your motivation. It took away my motivation for this ride today, but still I did it. So you just have to start. First thing is to start the exercise. Second thing is to do a warm-up of 10 to 15 minutes, because then when the blood starts flowing, the mushy feeling from your tiredness from your legs goes away if you have it. And then when you do that interval, push it, see what happens. Even if you have a feeling that you don't want to and that your legs are gonna cramp up, or that they're gonna stop, or that, I don't know what's the word that can happen on a bike, just stop pedaling. But push it, see where it takes you. Because for me, I plateaued for a long time before I decided to, before I gained enough confidence to go through with the pain. And when you push through the pain, you will get a reward that will give you another boost of confidence to go further and further. After I started doing this, embracing the pain and pushing through it and seeing where does it end. Of course it doesn't end because the interval finishes up, but You start exploring how much can you do. The next interval comes and you don't want to do it, but still you go through. And then at some point again, your mind tells you that's it, you can't do it anymore. You push through it and you say, yeah, I can do it, let's see. And you will see that the limitations that your mind, the signals that your mind sends you about your limitations are false. They are safe, let's say. Extra safe. And that's when the plateau finishes and the performance goes up again. Now my performance to where I was a month and a half ago is different, because for example, when I was doing the Camino trip, first day it was tough. It was the Pyrenees, 1,400 meters of elevation for the first day and around 70 kilometers, 75. And for me, for the first day, that was straight a PR, personal record, in elevation and in length. And the thing is, as I got into the ride, I was pushing it, and because I wanted it to end faster, it was suffering. It took 12 days or 11 days. 11 days of riding. So I wanted to do it as fast as possible, and I wasn't really ready. But what I can tell you is that all the things I did there in the first 4 or 5 days were, for me, in my mind, impossible for a long time. After I did them and I pushed through the pain because I had no option. I had to get from point A to point B. I did a lot of rest stops, stuff like that, but I had no option. I saw that I can do more, that this is not the limit. The problem is that I was still scared of the pain. So what I did, I learned to pedal more efficiently. I didn't pedal on the downhills. Even when I pedaled full circles to do less watts, less fatigue on the muscles. I mean, for touring it's good. For training it's not good. And my training scores, stats, got lower towards the end. Even though I was chronically tired, unslept, and all that stuff. The pain taught me, this is the point of the pain in your mind. It taught me to be more efficient and to take it easier, to make less of a toll on the body. But you don't want that when you're training for something. What you want is, you want to explore the pain, you want to push your body beyond its comfort and beyond its possibilities, to train it that it can do more than you think it can, and it always can. Like, I know guys whose FTP is 300 FTP, and I knew a guy who has, like myself, 270, and I always beat them, wherever. Because I'm the guy who is a bit extreme, as you already learned that. I'm mild when I talk and calm, but in my assignments and the way I do my assignments, I'm quite extreme. So I'm the guy who's gonna do it no matter what, because I'm convinced that all the limitations for any physical action you need to do are inside your head, not inside your body. I haven't got injured, thank God, for 6 months already, and I've been training heavy. I've been chronically tired, but it's all in the mind. And as I said, I knew guys who have a bigger FTP than me, and still they couldn't beat me on inclines and stuff like that. Because I'm willing to push through the huffing and puffing, through the pain in my legs, through everything. I see it as a challenge. You need to push through it, you need to explore it. You need to see what happens when your mind tells you you're gonna faint or you're gonna trip or your legs are gonna let you out. You have to see what is going to happen if you go past it. Explore, be curious, explore, and it's the body will not the body. Yeah, the body will reward you. Your mind will reward you. You will become more resilient, not just in cycling. You will become more resilient in life. Big, small things will not be able to throw you off balance. And that's the whole point why we are doing all this. To become better people, better humans. Become more resilient, more disciplined, more high quality of a person. At least that's why I do it. So yeah, I just did an effort, actually quite a good one. I have a system for my effort. When it gets really tough, I start breathing differently. It's like a meditation type. I get in the zone, that I have a blurred vision when I start really hard pedaling. And I pedal through the pain. I ignore the pain in the legs. I just focus on my breathing. And I have this breathing technique. It's called Ujjayi breath, I think, in Eastern culture from yoga. It's like when you breathe through your vocal cords, like you can do it through the nose as well. And when I get to the big efforts, I start breathing deeply in the back of my ribs, and I send the air down to the back of my ribs, bottom of my ribs, and in the back, and I do this. And this breathing, it gives me a easier way to, sorry about the glasses. This type of breathing, it gives me an easier way to focus. And when I focus really strongly, then I numb the pain. I go through it, I push through it. It's always there. It always wants you to stop, no matter what technique you use. The mind always forces you to stop, to preserve itself, but you have to find a system to cope with it. I don't know, you cannot break through it. You cannot go over it, rewire yourself. Yeah, you can, but it's always gonna be there. It's just that I look at it as a challenge, as a curiosity. I explore how far can it go, and I haven't reached any limits yet. I haven't fainted. I puked once, but that was while running, so I don't know. I was running after a bike ride and I puked. But that's it. There is no special way to handle it, to rewire it. It doesn't disappear, it's always there, but you can handle it with techniques to zone out, to focus on your effort. And feel the pain and work with it. I'd say it like that. Here is my Haley. Kako go?
Huh?
Kako go? Unfortunately, my camera battery is ending, so the GoPro turned itself off, but I managed to fix the tire. The camera ran out of battery. I managed to change the tire. The plug didn't work because the hole was obviously too big, so I almost drained my pump. So I put a new tube inside, the light one. It's amazing, it's very good. And I put it inside, I charged it to 2.5 bars because the pump died on me, but I got home, it's not a problem. And yeah, it was an exciting experience, my first flat this year. So I actually changed it pretty fast. And now it's recovery meal time. Again, recovery after the ride. 20% before the end, I was a bit tired. Luckily I had the flat, so that was heavy. And it wasn't tired, it was like wonking. You get these cold sweats and you like, I can't go further, I'm done. But yeah, if you push through, it's okay. And that's the whole point of the video, is that you have to push through the noise that your brain is sending you, the signal that you reached your limits. If you push through and you start discovering your true limits, and in the process your performance gets much better and better and better. That's the whole point. Like, you have to embrace the pain, find a way to handle it when it's there. You do VO2 max, that ones are, for me, those ones were the hardest because I had a feeling I was gonna faint. I was breathing heavy, you know? And that's the whole point. You have to breathe heavy for the last at least minute and a half to give your body the signal to use more oxygen. And that's how you raise your VO2 max. So, no pain, no gain. That's the finale. Even here, I had my limit, my pain tested. In the winter, it's 3 degrees in here because, like, when your heartbeat drops from 110, 20 in the beginning to 40, you feel it, trust me. And then after the 3-4 minutes, you start feeling really cold. Yeah, you have to get to know your pain. And that's when you get to know your pain, the perceived effort starts becoming an ally more than an obstacle in your performance. Yeah. So this is what I wish somebody had explained me, or I could find an explanation when I was learning all these things. So that's why I made this video. Please comment if you think it was a good idea.